Delighted now to welcome onto the stage the one and only, or maybe that's the two and only, Guy in a Cube, Adam Sexton, and Patrick LeBlanc to introduce the keynote presentation. Thank you. Cheers, Adam.
Yo! What's up? I'm Adam.
I'm Patrick.
We are Guy in a Cube. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Patrick, they let us back in Europe.
They opened the door. They opened the door, Adam.
It's amazing.
They opened the door.
We want to thank everyone here for taking part in the community. It's very special to us, and we just thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Patrick,
Yeah.
what can we expect? Where should people go this?
So there's a few places that you need to go. The first place that you should go is the Microsoft booth. Learn all the great information about Fabric. The next place is the community zone. It's one of my favorite things about a conference is go meet someone new. Go stop eating breakfast and lunch with the same people. Go meet somebody new. There's lots of new people to meet. And the last place, if you have a tough question, head to the back of the expo hall, excuse me, and go to Ask the Experts. There's gonna be tons of Microsoft people there to help you tackle those tough questions.
And also, you may get some swag.
All right.
Oh, that was, sorry.
You do not have a good arm, Adam. No sports for you.
I got them in the
No
head.
sports for you.
All right. And Patrick, you know what?
Yeah.
Microsoft Fabric is fabulous.
It's not fabulous, Adam. It's glorious.
No, wait. It's fab glorious.
Hashtag fab glorious.
Hashtag fab
New
glorious.
word. Tweet it. Okay, Adam. Enough of all this talking. You know how we like to do? Let's head over.
No, Patrick. They're not letting you demo.
Wait, I always demo.
No. All right. Really? Enough of all this talking. You know what? Let's hand it over to Arun Ulag, Corporate Vice President for Azure Data at Microsoft.
Thank you. Hey, man. Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right. Hey, folks. Good morning. I'm Arun Ulag. I run all of the Azure data services here at Microsoft. Boy, I'm so excited to be here at the very first Fabric Community Conference right here in Europe, right here in Stockholm. Thank you so much for joining us. It's such an incredibly exciting time to work in the data space. It's such an incredibly exciting time to work in AI. There's so much innovation happening, and boy, Fabric is changing so quickly. That's why we have over 300 of our developers, product managers, and designers who work on Fabric, who are building Fabric every single day right here at FabCon Europe so that you can hear from them, see exactly what we're building, show you all the capabilities that we have delivered and that we're working on. And we can also have lots of hallway conversation so you really get a sense of the feel of the product, but also the people behind the product. One of the things that's really, really important for us is to make sure that we engage deeply with the community. Now, as we get started, we all recognize that AI is rapidly transforming the world. It's no surprise to anybody in this audience, but for AI to work well, it needs really good data to work with. And we all recognize that it's data that is the fuel that powers AI. The best AI models, if we put garbage in, most likely you're going to get garbage out. So it's become incredibly important for customers to be able to get their data estate ready for the transition to the era of AI. However, this is a lot harder than it needs to be because we've had so much innovation in the data and AI space, but it's also resulted in a ton of fragmentation. So this is the 2024 data and AI slide, and every tiny icon on the slide is a product or technology in the data and AI space. And this is the complexity confronting you today because the burden is on you to figure out which products to use, which ones work together, how are they priced and licensed, and how do you bring everything together to create business value. And this complexity gets in the way of your transition to the era of AI. And from a Microsoft perspective, we want to make this much simpler for you. That's why a few months ago, Satya announced what we refer to as the Copilot Stack. With the Copilot Stack, Microsoft is putting all of our capabilities end-to-end together so that you can accelerate your journey forward. Everything from the Azure Stack, starting from the AI infrastructure, to the foundation models, everything from the world's leading models powered by our partners like OpenAI, to thousands of models from Microsoft and third parties, to the data infrastructure that can leverage these models, to the orchestration and tooling, so the entire Azure Stack helping you accelerate your transition. But it's not just Azure. We've taken all these capabilities and connected them into Microsoft 365, into the tools that hundreds of millions and billions of users use every single day, tools like Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, Word, etc., so that we make sure that the power of AI, this AI transformation, reaches every single business user. And this vision of the Copilot stack is really important because we want to make sure that your data is at play. And that's why my team, the Azure Data team, is really working on making sure that we're taking all of our data technologies and bringing that together cohesively into just a single product, which is Microsoft Fabric. So if you look at what we're doing with Fabric, our objective is to give you all the capabilities you need to go from raw data to AI or BI value in the hands of your business users in a single integrated product. A good way to think about Fabric is very similar to what we have done with Office 365. Because in Office, you have Word for document authoring, PowerPoint for presentation, Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, etc., but all of them work together to accelerate your productivity. And that's exactly what we're doing with Fabric. With Fabric, we have 6 core workloads, all of which are targeting the core personas in the data and AI space, the data scientists, the data engineers, the data warehousing people, the BI professionals, giving them purpose-built experiences to help them actually build solutions very, very quickly. And underneath it all, we have AI capabilities that are infused throughout the Fabric experience so that you can accelerate your entire data journey with the copilots that are just built into Fabric. We introduced OneLake, a multi-cloud SaaS data lake, so that we can simplify the data lake infrastructure and embrace data that lives everywhere. We also work closely with our friends in the Purview team to give you the governance you need so you can deploy and manage Fabric really, really easily. But it's not just a bundle of products. We worked very carefully over the last few years to deeply integrate these products so that you have integrated experiences, an integrated development model, as well as an integrated business model, so you can dramatically accelerate your time to value and dramatically drive down your costs. And this vision has really, really resonated with customers. And we have tons and tons of customers that are using Fabric every single day. I just wanted to give you a few quick examples. AP Pension is using Fabric to not only accelerate their time to value, but also to be able to get a much higher level of granularity in their systems compared to what they had before. We're working with Chanel and they were looking for a next generation data and AI platform so that they can transition to the era of AI, and Fabric has been a great fit for them. We're also working with EY, who uses Fabric not only to bring all of their internal people together across all of their different departments, but they also use Fabric to reach out and provide those insights to hundreds of thousands of EY customers. And I'm really excited to announce that across the board, we have over 14,000 organizations that are paying customers of Fabric today. Pretty much in every organization, from the largest to the smallest, in every industry, pretty much in every country. So let's hear from a few of these Fabric customers.
We are really thrilled to be announcing Microsoft Fabric, perhaps the biggest launch from Microsoft since the launch of SQL Server.
Fabric allows us to build things faster. We'll be able to focus on driving real value out of the capabilities that are there.
We switched to Microsoft Fabric at breakneck speed, completing the transition in just 2 weeks.
Microsoft have packaged enterprise-level functionality so that it can be a low-code or no-code solution.
Our Alltech Fabric pilot project was to analyze travel spend. Our vision is to bring together in one platform data from multiple sources.
Fabric's end-to-end cloud solution has empowered us to act on high-volume, high-granularity events in real time.
The presentation of this data, it's intuitive, it's friendly. Real-time intelligence gives the ability to take an action before even the driver notices.
Because everything is integrated, we get information rights protection, as well as security and access policy.
AI will play a significant role in many areas for Alltech.
The features and functionality are out of this world.
It's a great time to be in data and AI, and we're just at the start.
All right. As excited as I am about the 14,000 customers that are already paying customers of Fabric, it's just a drop in the bucket. Our vision with Fabric is so much larger because we want to empower every organization on the planet so we can democratize these technologies, we can drive data and AI everywhere, we can drive down costs, and empower every single business user. Now, one example of where we have done this well is the journey that we've all been on together with Power BI. Today, Power BI has over 375,000 organizations that use it. Any Power BI users here in the room? All right. That includes over 95% of the Fortune 500, and we have over 6.5 million developers that build on Power BI every single month. Now, this curve that you see on the slide here is actually the usage growth of Power BI since the day we launched it. And over 9 years, you can see that the usage growth of Power BI is still accelerating like crazy. And ever since we launched Fabric just about 14 months ago, the Power BI usage growth has only accelerated. Well, why am I talking about this? Because we want to get Fabric to Power BI scales. And to make that easy, we have made sure that for every single Power BI developer, every customer using Power BI, Fabric is just one click away. And to make that really easy for every developer to experience Fabric, we have made an F64 SKU, a free trial available, where every developer can get $17,000 of capacity to be over 2 months to experience Fabric and see what Fabric can do for them. This is the most generous trial program in the industry because we want to make it easy for you to experience what Fabric can do, because we believe that when you check Fabric out, when you try it out, when you see its capabilities, you'll fall in love with the product that we're building. Now, another thing that developers are really excited about is simply the pace of innovation. Microsoft is pouring massive resources into Fabric. And you've seen this movie before, right? With Power BI, we've released a new version of Power BI every single week and a new release of Power BI Desktop every single month for over 9 years, right? And we're bringing that exact same pace of innovation to Fabric. Every week, there's a new release of Microsoft Fabric with new capabilities that you can light up. Every month, we take all of the capabilities that we've shipped that month and put that into a monthly Fabric blog, and that's what you're seeing here. And these monthly Fabric blogs are 60 to 80 pages long, just to give you a sense of the level of innovation. And a lot of those ideas are not just coming from us here at Microsoft. We want to make sure we're paying careful attention to a community, to all the developers building on Fabric. So if you have a feature that you're excited about, go put it on ideas.fabric.microsoft.com, and we take it seriously. We look at the top voted ideas, and we try to make sure that we ship them quickly so that we're evolving the product in the direction that our customers want us to go. So Microsoft is listening, Microsoft is learning, and Microsoft is making Fabric the product that you want it to be. However, as excited as I am about the technology, we know it's not just about the technology. We know it's about the people. And for the very first time with Fabric, you're bringing all the personas that work together in the data and AI space together in a single integrated product experience. Data engineers, data scientists, data warehousing people, business analysts, BI professionals, all working together in a single product experience so that you can collaborate, you can share ideas, you can evolve these things quickly. Right? So we can accelerate the time to value. And this is critically important because we know that data and AI is a team sport. As we bring the people together, the different personas together in a single product, we also know it's critically important to unify the community. And that's what the Fabric conference is about, bringing all of the personas together so we can learn from each other, we can connect with each other, we can go all on a journey together. And you know that me and my team have a lot of passion for our Fabric community members, for our Power BI community members, for our SQL community members. We engage in person in events like this. We participate in user groups. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter, because we want to make sure that we are here to serve you. And as a result, the community has grown very, very quickly. We have over 2.6 million members today across the Fabric and Power BI communities, over 239 different user groups. Pretty much wherever you are on the planet, you'll find that there's a local user group. If you go to this URL, AKR MS Fabric Community, you can find all these resources there. So I'd encourage you to connect with your local community members. Learn from each other. You'll meet some amazing people that are going on the Fabric journey with you. Thank you. And if I narrow this down just to Europe, we have a massive Fabric and Power BI community just here in Europe. Almost 700,000 members of our community are in Europe, 73 different user groups. So there's lots of opportunity to engage with people right here. Okay. So let's hear from some of our awesome community members.
Jag trodde att jag klarade mig ganska bra med Google. En dag så fick jag chansen att se hur pass mycket mer som fanns där ute.
Et le fait de faire partie de cette communauté, ça permet vraiment de combler ces différentes lacunes et ainsi apprendre ensemble.
Knowledge grows when it's shared. These beliefs drives my passion for joining the community and helping others.
In the past, the community helped me to learn new stuff that was released, and now it's somehow changed that I'm very often the person that tells, teaches and helps others to learn the new data stuff.
Ta kluczowa decyzja i kilka innych za tym oraz wybór platformy Microsoft zdecydowały o tym, gdzie w tej chwili jestem i w jakim tempie rozwija się moja kariera.
Our community is special because it's all about collaboration, helping each others and respecting diversity.
Is dat iedereen welkom is. Niemand wordt beoordeeld. Iedereen wordt bekeken zoals hij of zij is.
A genuine passion for helping others.
Ja mä oon kokenut, että aina jos mä oon tarvinnut jotain apua, mä voin kyllä kysyä joltain.
Nieuwkomers zou ik maar één advies willen geven. Blijf jezelf.
Over time, this is going to grow into a big network of peers that you can rely on for years to come for support in your current role and future career development opportunities.
I've collaborated with so many people in the community around helping others to learn and, well, enhance their skills and help their careers.
Huge. So huge thank you to the Fabric and Power BI community members. It's been so much fun over the last couple of days, walking these hallways, meeting some of our friends who have been with us on a journey for so many years. We also know that it's critically important for us to be able to get everybody skilled up, which is why we introduced the Fabric Analytics Engineer certification just 6 months ago. And we were, thank you. And we were blown away by the level of interest in the certification. Just in the last 6 months, we have 17,000 engineers who have passed the certification. And I was shocked to find out that this is the fastest growing certification in Microsoft's history in the last 4 years. So really, really exciting to see the massive investment. And I'm excited to announce that we're going much deeper. Next month, you will see us launch the beta of the DP700 exam. This is much more focused on the back end. It'll go much deeper into data integration, data engineering, data warehousing. So please do check it out. We're really trying to work hard to make sure that you have all the training resources so that you get skilled up, your customers get skilled up, our community members get skilled up. Now, one of the things that's been really exciting for us is the work that we have done with our systems integration partners. We brought the SI partners into the Fabric journey right when it was Project Trident 3 years ago. And we worked closely with these partners to give them access to early bits so that they can try the capabilities out, they can give us feedback, help us mature the product. So these featured partners have invested deeply in Fabric. Across this ecosystem, there are tens of thousands of consultants that are already trained and certified on Fabric so that they can help you with your Fabric implementations. And I'm also excited to say that a whole bunch of these partners, all of these partners, are right here at the Fabric Community Conference. So please do check out the Partner Solutions area, and please do connect with them because they can help you accelerate your journey. So let's hear from some of these partners.
When I first started reading about Fabric and seeing where Microsoft was going with this new platform, I said to myself, this is a game changer for the marketplace.
The thing that excites me the most about Fabric is the completeness of the platform.
It puts data analytics and business intelligence in the hand of everyday users.
We've been seeing tons of new customers reaching out to us. They are very excited about going into Fabric.
The learning curve is much lesser. That's the best part about Fabric.
Fabric has helped us grow our business by really helping our clients get more value earlier on in projects. We've seen a lot of adoption and excitement amongst key industries.
It gives our customers as well as developers one single platform where they can manage information.
A lot of customers out there are excited about the opportunity of Fabric, bringing multiple skill sets together, multiple teams together to be able to work under kind of one hood, so to speak.
I often get asked, when do you think we should start working with it? My simple answer is yesterday.
When my clients want to do a brand new proof of concept or try something out, I'm not having to spend a lot of time just getting things to work. They just work.
So you have a better ability to discover and then extract value out of it.
Microsoft has got it. This is the product that we in the industry have been looking for years.
Microsoft Fabric will be front and center for any customer organization to fully modernize their analytics platforms.
This is probably one of the biggest game changers from a product perspective.
All right. So the next part of the presentation is what you've been waiting for. So we're going to go much deeper into our future innovation in Fabric, show you a whole bunch of capabilities that are available today, as well as give you a sneak preview of some of the capabilities that we're working on. So when we think about the opportunity to innovate with Fabric, we're working on 3 areas. The first is AI-powered development. Because Fabric is end-to-end and Copilot is baked into every part of the Fabric experience, it can dramatically accelerate your time to value. It can help your developers architect the solutions correctly. It can help them get up to speed. It can help you get solutions in the hands of your business users much more quickly than ever before. The second is the AI-powered data estate. So with OneLake, we have a multi-cloud SaaS data lake, but we're bringing a lot of the AI capabilities natively to OneLake itself. So the storage system itself becomes AI-powered. You will see some of the investments we're making in this area, really, really exciting. And the third area is AI-powered insights, taking the Copilot experiences in Power BI so that it becomes a coach for every single business user so that they can find those valuable insights, they can make those business decisions so much faster and so much better than they could ever do before. So to show you all of these capabilities and get you much deeper into into all the exciting demos we have lined up for you, I'm going to invite Amir Nesh, Technical Fellow at CTO.
Woo!
Amir.
Woo!
All right.
Everyone, thank you.
There you go.
And that's me. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited being here. First, FabCon Europe. We're going to see each other every year, I can tell you that. And we are going to continue exactly where everyone left off. We are going to have a journey through the product. We have 3 pillars to cover. We're going to drill down into each one of the pillars. And we're going to start with the first one, which is the AI-powered development. And what does it mean, AI-powered development? Well, you have Fabric. Fabric provides you the end-to-end product that gives you everything that you need for data. All the workloads from data integration, data engineering, data science, data warehousing, real-time intelligence, BI, everything that you need, one in a box. And one of the things we learned is, when we looked at the product and how you use it, is that there are some really distinct patterns that are emerging. You're not using just one workload at a time. About 6 out of 7 of you are using at least 3 of the 6 workloads together, and about 40% of you using all the workloads together. So we thought that we really have to refine the flow in the product to make sure that the product is feeling like a single project, that you don't have to switch between experiences to create new items. So you're going to see in the coming weeks some changes rolling into the user experience. You're going to see that instead of having a homepage per workload, we are taking all the workloads, creating a single place for all the developers to come together, where you are driven by task flows. The task flows are giving you the structure of the project that you're going to build with all the components, end-to-end, from all the workloads. And when you create the project, you're moving into the workspace, you're going to use the task flow as the guiding light for your project, and every item in the project is available for you in the workspace. You don't have to switch between experiences. A very, very flowing, streamlined experience that you're going to get in the product. So this is coming in the next few weeks. And in addition, you're going to see us doubling down on the AI-powered development. And this is where the Copilot is coming into the picture. I'm going to invite Patrick, my friend, to the stage, and we're going to see more of the AI-powered development. Hey,
All right.
Patrick.
Thank you, Amir. All right, everybody.
So, what does it mean to have AI-powered development?
Yeah, we've been working hard at Copilot, taking feedback and really expanding it across the product so it's built into every Fabric experience. And it's really a way to help you work end-to-end across Fabric. And let's start out with a demo here and maybe take a look at how we can use Copilot end-to-end, but also how Fabric helps you build an end-to-end solution all in one place. Yeah, so let's take a look. So here I am in one of the task flows that Amir was talking about, and I have everything I need for a full end-to-end solution. Everything from how I get data and all organized in this nice task flow bucket, where I store it, training machine learning models, visualizing data, and even real-time intelligence, all built in and organized so my team can collaborate. And this right now is tracking our customer loyalty program, and I want to make some updates to the solution. And to do that, I'm going to use the built-in source control and Git integration in Fabric to make sure my team can collaborate together. Now, this is GA today, generally available today. There's some new items now available for Git integration from real-time intelligence. And the great thing about this integration is I can create a new branch, and that's going to create a new isolated work environment, so I can make changes without disrupting the full solution. It's all built in.
It's isolated the runtime environment. It doesn't affect anything else going on.
Exactly, and it's all very easy to use, so I can collaborate with my team and make changes. So here I am in the loyalty data warehouse for our customer loyalty program, and I want to add some orders data so I can look at how many orders and back orders that our loyalty members have all in one unified place. So to do that, I'm going to create a new data pipeline. But I don't want to use the UI, right? I'm going to use Copilot to kind of accelerate the work I'm doing. So this is a new Copilot experience where I can just come in here and use natural language to describe what I want the pipeline to do. So I'm going to say, copy the orders table from, and then I can pick from the UI the connection I want to use. And then I can say, put it into a new orders table into the data warehouse I can select. And then I can say something like, if there's a failure case, send an email, or I could add other additional activities using natural language. And just like that, Copilot...
The entire pipeline was created.
Yeah, Copilot's building that on my behalf, so I don't have to where to look. It just does it. And then I can, of course, run that and start loading across the data. And if we skip ahead, we can come back and now see, hey, our orders data is now loaded into our data warehouse. As easy as that. But yeah, that's worth an applause. I love the Copilot experiences that speed me up. I take my hands off the mouse, let me use the keyboard. But I can do some other cool things as well. I'm going to the monitoring hub, and the same new Copilot, there happens to be an error in one of my pipelines, so it's a different one that ran for Azure Databricks. And instead of me having to search error codes and figure out what went wrong, I can now use Copilot to help diagnose the issue. So it's looked at the error codes. It's given me a summary. It says, hey, it might have been a quota issue. Here's some links to support information. So really taking that intelligence and, again, accelerating your work so you can work faster and not have to spend as much time on manual tasks. But Copilot goes even further. We have it built into the data warehousing experience, which is now entering preview today, so you'll be able to go ahead and use this. And the Copilot is incredibly good at writing SQL, right? So I can ask, hey, give me some suggestions for SQL queries I might want to write. It suggested the top 3 primary interests of customers who have back-ordered items, because now I have this joined together so it can do both. But I can ask for something more complicated as well. Let's create a view of customers who have the top lifetime value and how many back orders they have. And then group it by primary interest. And just like that, Copilot has generated all that SQL code for me. Again, this is a huge time saver because now I can just start editing. I can also use it inline.
And you can create store procedures.
Yeah, I can create store procedures. I can use it to diagnose issues if I have issues in SQL. It's a very, very useful tool to speed things up. And like that, I have my new view and I can see the data. But now, just to complete the end story, of course, we have Copilot and Power BI as well. And since everything is integrated, I can just create a new report directly on my data warehouse, and I can ask Copilot to create a new report page. And just like that, it's given me a starting point that I can go and edit. Kim's going to come up a little bit later and show you some of the new Power BI capabilities in Copilot. Again, making it much more efficient, listening to your guys' feedback, and continuing to improve all across the board. Now, finally, at the end, thank you. Finally, at the end here, I'm done with my work, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to source control, select what I want to commit. And just like that, I've done an end-to-end improvement to my solution, all integrated in with Copilot working everywhere.
Yeah, so Copilot everywhere, helping you with your work. And you finished the demo with checking in back to the Git repository, CI/CD, and that's something that we heard a lot from you, that you really wish that all the items in Fabric will support CI/CD, and we have some news today.
Yeah, exactly. So we know it's a CI/CD source control integration is incredibly important. We live in kind of a code-first world, and we have some new supported items, as I mentioned, and we're also excited to say that all the primary used items in of Fabric in Git integration will be supported by the end of the year. And this is a priority for us to keep up to date. Yeah, there we go. So we definitely have heard that feedback and are organizing ourselves to make sure it's always supported and always up to date.
And we also heard from you that you want better support for deployment of technologies for your project. And this is where we have another good announcement.
Yeah, so going into public preview today is a new Terraform provider. Terraform helps you automate deployment of environments, of capacity resources. So if you know what Terraform is or you're using that organization, this is a big help in streamlining how you manage your Fabric environment.
And if you don't know what Terraform, forget it. Okay.
If you know what it is, you know what it is.
Okay. we did a few more things, right? We talked about one change in the UI, which is really centered around you when you build a project where we bring all the workloads together with the task flow, with the workspaces that can do everything in the one workspace without switching experiences. We also know that there is another crowd of people who are using Fabric, and that's your business users. And this is where we make another change.
Yeah, and so one of the pieces of feedback we really heard is that the workload switcher, and there's all these different workloads, and sometimes it's getting confusing. Do I have to switch workloads to create new items? And we wanted to streamline all of those experiences for you. So let's go ahead and take a look really quick how we're doing that. So if you notice down on the left hand where there used to be kind of the icon of the workload that you selected, we're revamping that a little bit. So now you'll see it says develop, right? And you'll see this rolling out over the next few weeks. And we've organized all of the development-centric workloads into one place, but then taken the more end-user workload space and put it under another category called Analyze. So if I'm a consumer or an end user, I have one place to go to see all my content and to consume content. But if I'm a creator, we've then grouped it all together. And you saw in that task flow demo in the workspace, we're kind of streamlining creation so there's not as much confusion for having to switch. And we think this is a really good improvement for, again, continuing to streamline, listen to your guys' feedback, and improve the experiences. So.
What do you guys think?
All right.
Yeah, okay. So a few more innovations coming.
So we have a bunch of announcements here. I'll let you guys read the slides. We have a ton more demos coming. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to be in Sweden.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've seen the end-to-end, and it's time to us to kind of zoom into some of the workloads. And the first one is about analytics. And we have data science, data engineering, data warehousing, and we have a lot of innovation coming here. So I would like to invite Justina to the stage. Hey, Justina.
Hey, Hamir. Hi, FAFCON. So great to be here.
So, what's new in analytics?
Yeah, so tons of new things in analytics. And I wanted to start with a really exciting announcement. So we're really excited to say that the new Fabric Runtime 1.3 is now generally available. Thank you.
So what does it include? Why should we care about this?
So this includes all the latest and greatest in open source, including Spark 3.5, Delta 3.2 with features like liquid clustering. So you can now use all the latest and greatest from open source in your production workloads.
And there's one more thing that is really coming with 1.3, which is?
Yes, of course. So we, of course, also have our own secret sauce, and that is the new Spark native execution engine public preview, but in the new GA runtime.
And this is giving a performance improvement. How much?
Yeah, so this is all crafted in C++. It's based on open source capabilities like Velox and Gluten. And so you can see anything up to a 4x improvement.
Yeah, and so it's all based on open source. We are contributing to the open source project.
Of course, we're contributing to open source. We're collaborating with our design partners, Meta, IBM, Intel, and all of this.
So up to 4% improvement in performance.
4x, not 4%, 4 times.
Four times, sorry, 4 times. I do 4 times, yes. And it's not just we're giving you 4-time performance improvement. There's one big announcement that is accompanying that, right?
Yes, so this is my favorite bit of this. I'm really, really excited to announce that all of this is available at no additional cost.
So you basically can do so much more with the same capacity. There's no hike of any kind of consumption rates, no more CUs.
Exactly.
Just instantly, just turn it on. Your existing project don't have to be changed in any way, and you just get this amazing efficiency.
Yes, we want to provide all of our Spark users the best performance by default at no additional charges.
Okay, so we talk about AI-powered development. What does it mean to have AI-powered analytics?
Yes, so we have some exciting things in the AI space as well, of course. So I want to show you a sneak peek of a new capability called AI Functions that lets you enrich all of your OneLake data with AI. So let's take a look. So we're starting out inside our notebook, and of course I want to start by bringing in some data, and of course I can connect to my lakehouses. I can now even connect to my warehouses and use T-SQL, but I can do even more. So I'm really excited that we're also releasing mirrored database support with Spark.
That's nice.
So now I can connect, thank you, to my Snowflakes, to my Cosmos DBs, my Azure SQL DBs, and use Spark on top of those as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the integrated data hub. I have all of my different mirrored databases. I'm going to bring in my customer call logs. So I'm going to go ahead, connect to this. Of course, it shows up on the side, just like a lakehouse does. And now I can just go ahead and drag and drop my customer call logs. I get my beautiful code snippet, and I can just go ahead and run this. So there we go. We see our data frame, but I'm having a little bit of a problem here. As I expand out these transcripts, I can't really read them.
I don't understand a single thing here.
Yeah, I think they're Swedish. Yeah.
Best videos I learned is from the Swedish chef on the Muppet Show.
Yeah, that's not going to help us here, Amir. Of course, our audience can probably help us. We unfortunately don't speak Swedish, but this is where AI can come to the rescue, right? So all I have to do is I'm just going to create myself a new code cell. I want to create a new column called English transcript, which I'm going to define here. And now I want to apply an AI transform on top of these. And so these will just come integrated into your notebooks. I can do things from sentiment to classification, extraction, similarity analysis, so many different things. So over here, I'm going to select the translate option. I'm going to specify that I want this to be in English. That would probably be helpful. And that's it. That's all the code I have to write.
And all these functions, you don't have to sign to Azure Cognitive Services or any other service. It's just built into Fabric, built into the notebook. That's it.
Exactly. So thank you. Yeah. So let's take a closer look. Yeah, this is looking better. I can read this one, right?
Yes, we can read it, but it's too long.
Yeah. So maybe we want to like summarize it.
Categorize it.
Categorize. Okay, categories. Categories sounds good. So again, we're going to create ourselves a new code snippet, and now I want to create a new column called issues. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to define my own custom labels. So I can, let's say, specify that I want to classify things into, let's say, installation issues or shipments, warranties, returns, other. I can define these myself.
And the AI will just go through the table and read every one of those transcripts and decide what it belongs to, which kind of issue was discussed in the service call.
That's the plan. I hope so. We'll see. And there we go. We have our new issues column available.
Okay, let's see if it's correct.
Let's see if it's working, right? So we have our returns, we have our installations. Let's jump into one of them and just make sure everything's looking okay. So there we go. Installation issue, trouble installing the grill I purchased. So looks like things are working. Great.
It's really working.
It is, yeah. It really is. So now, I want to be maybe a little bit more proactive. I want to actually take some action on this. It would be great to maybe reach out to all these customers having these issues and just maybe offer them a personalized tutorial in the store to actually, how do I install this thing?
And this is where we're working with a partner of ours, Esri. If you don't know Esri is a leader in geoanalytics. They've been around forever, and they just have an amazing library of analytical functions for geography, and we can use that, right? So we integrated their technology together with our notebooks.
Yes.
Want to take a look?
Exactly. So let's take a sneak peek at some of the capabilities that are going to be coming soon. So over here, I've got a new notebook, and I'm going to add a code cell, and I want to start out maybe using Esri for doing a little bit of, plotting some customized maps. I want to actually classify all these call volumes into different bins, see where the heat map looks like. We've got our nice personalized map of Stockholm over here. Looks like all the issues are coming generally from the southwest region. And now I want to do something a little bit more complex, and this is really where the Esri engine can really shine. So I want to actually figure out, hey, from all these customers, what are the nearest stores to them? So I can really send them to these personalized tutorial sessions. So I'm going to specify that for each customer, I want to find the closest 3 stores in a 10-mile radius. And it's just a couple of lines of code I have to write, really actually simple for how complex of a problem we're trying to solve here. And
it's so easy, like you can see, so I can write it myself.
Yeah, even Amir could write this, exactly. There we go. In our data frame, we can see for each customer, we've got the top 3 stores with their precise distances.
Now, we want to see it on a map, though.
It would be great to see on a map. Of course, I could write this into a lakehouse, plot on a beautiful map in Power BI, but I want to just get a quick feel for this, make sure everything's working correctly. So I've got some code here. I'm just going to choose a customer at random. Let's say customer number 48, and I'll give this a second to run. And there we go. We can see our customer. We can see the nearest stores. One of them is definitely much closer, so I think that's where I'm going to send the customer for that personalized
What do you guys think? Okay. So we've seen AI functions, geoanalytics, and we mentioned one more thing that is the ability to
actually have things like your Mary databases, your warehouses supported in notebooks as well.
And a lot of additional innovations coming. And
yeah, loads of things coming. We don't have time to cover everything here, but selfish plug, come to my session. We'll talk about all of these different things, tons of things in the analytics space. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Amir. Thanks, everyone.
All right, let's go talk about real-time intelligence. This is something that we announced just a few months ago in the Build conference in the spring, and this has been taking off like a rocket. It's just unbelievable. What is real-time analytics? Real-time analytics and real-time intelligence is all about processing data at real time, getting the insight from the data. In fact, I want to invite my friend Will to talk more about real-time intelligence. Will!
Everybody. Hi, man.
So, real-time intelligence. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, real-time intelligence is the place in Fabric to ingest, analyze, and even take action on that real-time and streaming data.
And we have there something called the real-time hub. And the real-time hub is super exciting because it does for streaming data what OneLake does for data at rest. It's one place where you can find all the streaming data across everything, all the clouds, all the data. Give me an example of what you can
Yeah, no matter where it comes from, whether you're bringing it from Microsoft sources, from third parties like Amazon Kinesis or Apache Kafka, all those different sources can come through to the real-time hub.
Well, what is Kafka? Everybody's talking about Kafka.
So Kafka is an industry standard for really dealing with these high volume, very low latency, massive throughput streaming data sources, those kind of event data, IoT systems, that kind of thing.
So we bring the data, everything in the real-time hub, and then you can process it, you can analyze it, you can monitor it, you can act on it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Let's take a look.
Okay. So real-time intelligence.
So I'm going to start here in the real-time hub. So real-time hub is the place to bring all of your streaming data together from a whole across your organization. And I can filter it down by different types of streams, the location, and even search through it as well. Now, if I don't find the information that I want, I can go and use those connectors to pull in data from other sources. And like I said, whether you're connecting to Microsoft things like Azure Event Hub, IoT Hub, whether you're pulling in change data feeds from databases like Postgres or Cosmos DB, that can all come through together into the real-time hub. Now, third-party sources are also supported, things like Amazon Kinesis, Google PubSub, Confluent, or even Apache Kafka, like I mentioned. I'm going to use that to connect to some data here. So in this situation, we're pulling in kind of customer reviews and orders, that sort of thing might be coming through here. And I just put in the connection details and start to create an event stream to integrate and manage that data as it comes in. So I go and open up that event stream. You can see we have a preview of the volume of events that are coming through. The connection's all set up for me. And I can even open it up to see the contents of a preview of the data. And you can see this is complex, nested JSON structure in those events, very complicated data to work with, but real-time intelligence handles it all. Now, what I want to do is actually go take some action on this. And right from here in the real-time hub, I can set up an alert on this. And it brings up this pane to where you can use Data Activator to configure these alerts. And what I want to know is, let's look at those review scores, group them by product category. And if any of the category review scores drops below a threshold of 2, send me an alert. Now, in this case, I could send an email, I could send a Teams message. I could even do things like starting other Fabric items, kicking off a pipeline or running a notebook. I need to give it a name, choose a workspace to save the alert in, and it will get created for me.
And what I love about it, how simple it is. If you ever worked in a real-time technology and before, it
can be complex. We make it super simple. Yeah, exactly. And we've made some great improvements to the Data Activator experience recently, bringing all of the content together into this pane on the right-hand side for defining these rules, making these beautiful visuals that smoothly animate as more data kind of comes in, and you can see the line across there, the threshold when things drop below that.
I love the animation. You can see how the data is flowing through the screen.
Flows really nicely, yeah. And you can see most of our product categories are doing okay, but a couple do occasionally drop beneath that threshold, and they're going to send those alerts. Now, on this Analytics tab, I can see a preview of when this rule would have fired. So at 2:17 here, it would have fired 3 times.
So we can actually take a look here and see, are we spamming with too many alerts when we change the threshold?
I can go and iterate on that to make sure the rules match the business requirements. And I can see it's sending a Teams message. So it's going to say, this is the alert that it would send me. And it gives me the context of what category it was, what the value was, and when that trigger fired. Now, these alerts are great, and taking action is fantastic, but sometimes I need to look at those events over a longer period of time. And I want to save them to do maybe some loyalty scheme analytics or look at something more complex over a longer period of time. And I can do that using the Event House.
So let's talk about the Event House. I don't know, how many of you have tried using the Event House?
Hands.
That's
good. Yeah.
If you haven't, you really have to try it out. It's a wonder, right?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's actually based on the data Explorer technology we have in Azure, the ADX technology we have in Azure, the KQL database, and it's all of Microsoft basically running on this technology. All the Azure services, the cloud services we have, everything is running. All the telemetry is ingested into those event houses. Just look at the numbers here: 8.3 exabytes of events that are transmitted to us per month, 300 petabytes ingested into this technology per day.
Per day.
It's just
massive
unbelievable. And when you try it out, you'll see that It's just unbelievable. It handles massive amounts of data that coming in real time, very, very complex.
Yeah. Very complex. And it's really designed for that time series data as well. If you want to do analytics where you're looking at trends and changes in patterns over time, it's ideal for that. Let's take a look. So I'm swapping to a slightly different data set for this one. We're using some publicly available data from GitHub. So it's new repos being created, logins happening, people doing check-ins, that sort of thing. And obviously, as a stream of data, this just appears in the real-time hub like anything else. And from there, I can start querying, analyzing it, even using Copilot, because we're all about a Copilot at the moment, for building dashboards automatically. And this will look over that streaming data, look at the structure of the data, and pull out and suggest insights for me. So it will generate these visuals so I can see the number of events over time, split up by the different types of event. And this is a really good kind of jumping off point for me to go do my own visualization or exploration or write my own queries. And if I want to write queries against the event house, I use the KQL language. Now, KQL is a really great way to analyze this sort of data. And let's just do a simple count of the number of records in here. You can see we have 6 billion rows of data in this table, and it's streaming in new data all the time. So if I just do a summarize over it, let's summarize by the type of event. This will now give me a different result because there's more data arriving in this table, but you can see in blazing fast time, less than half a second, it scanned all that data and split it up by time.
And KQL is so readable, so easy to learn, but what if I don't know KQL?
Yeah, if you don't know KQL, that's okay. You can use your existing T-SQL skills. So I'm not a T-SQL person, but I can do like select star from something, I think. So select star from, where, whatever, with my group bys and things, and you get the same amazing performance over all of that data as it's coming in real time.
And if I want to learn T-SQL?
You could do, yeah.
Okay.
We can use Copilot. We'll get to that in a sec. Now, I just want to remind you about the sort of data in here, because this is really complicated, nested JSON data coming in from these events, application logs, whatever it might be. I can use those in my queries as well, and it's super simple to go and reach into those fields and pull them out. So, for example, I'm going to look at just the events from 2023, and I want to go and pull it, look into the repo field and get the name of the repo out of it. And I just use this repo.name notation. I'm going to do the same for the login, for the username. I can use this actor.login notation to reach in, get some context out of those JSON fields. It's really, really easy, very readable. And then I'm going to summarize it up, count the number of events, number of repos, number of users.
This is way easier than DAX, by the way.
I think it is, yeah. I can say that because I used to own DAX. Right. It also has a built-in understanding of things like visuals. So you can say, as part of my query, I'd like to just render that into a chart. So if you're doing this interactive analysis, it's super quick to go and query huge amounts of data. And you can see the most common, most popular time to work with GitHub turns out is the last week in November. Who knew? But yeah, as Amir said, if you don't know KQL, that's another way to get started and to learn it is using Copilot. Now, the Copilot here has an understanding of all of these kind of functions for binning data over time and for rendering visuals as well. So I could ask it to draw me a chart of the percentage of different types of events over time for a particular year. Drop that code in, and again, think about the performance over this, of those 6 billion rows, all the time that's coming in, we're doing grouping at different levels, and in just a couple of seconds, it's going to come back, give me that chart that I can then go and use elsewhere. Now, I could pin this onto a real-time dashboard. And if you haven't used real-time dashboards, these are a really great place to put operational data. If you've got data that's changing all the time.
And I love how the dashboard is animating.
Yeah, exactly. The visuals are constantly updating as new data arrives in those tables. It's pushed up to these visuals, so you get a really kind of up-to-date real-time view on that data.
And what's the best way to deliver those dashboards to the business?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this because we've heard from feedback of people who are using these that they really want to distribute this just the same way they do their Power BI content. And you can now embed that in your organizational apps as well. So along with the Power BI reports, yes, you get those real-time dashboards too. Makes it super simple to distribute, and it means that you don't even need to provide access to that underlying data. You just give access to the dashboard, and they just see the data that's available there.
That's so good. And we have so many more innovation in real-time intelligence.
I've barely touched on these. There's loads more coming as well. Look out for the blogs. Come to the real-time sessions this week and look and learn more.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Will.
Amir. See ya. Thanks.
So, we are done with the first pillar. We talked about the AI-powered development. Let's move to the AI-powered data estate. And this is where OneLake is come into play. And OneLake is the beating heart for Fabric. This is the OneDrive for data. We took the concept of a data lake and we SaaSified it. We made it so easy to use. And it is the heart of Fabric. It is the place where all the data is stored. All the workloads of Fabric are storing the data into one lake. Everything is stored in an open format. It is infinitely scalable. You never have to buy a storage account again in your life. It's available globally. You don't have to worry about which region the data and how to scale the region separately. And it's fast. It's so easy. It's like working with OneDrive. And all the data is indexed for search. It handles the lineage tracking. You can put information, protection labels on top of that. We can handle the governance, the sharing, the compliance. Everything is handled by OneLake. And boy, it is taking off. It's unbelievable to see how you guys have adopted OneLake. If you just look at the chart here, what you see here is the growth of the storage in Fabric. We have about 3 million shortcuts already in Fabric that are pointing to all the data in all the other clouds and on-premises. This is just after less than a year of the product in the market. Every 15 weeks, we double the volume of the data in Fabric. It's just unbelievable to see how you guys are adopting everything. And you ask, so how the data gets into Fabric? Well, this is where the data factory is coming into play. So we're going to talk a little bit about the data factory. I want to invite Shireen on the stage. Hey, Shireen.
Oh, hello. Hi, Amir.
Hey.
Hey, good morning, Europe.
So, what's new with Data Factory?
Yeah, we have some really, really exciting announcements to share today, and let's just get started. So, one of the things that we want to show is many of you guys know what the copy activity data pipelines is, right? It manages bulk and batch data ingestion at petabyte scale. So with that, let's make data ingestion even easier. So today, I'm so excited to introduce the copy job item, which simplifies data movement from any source to any destination.
So we noticed that so many of the pipelines that you create have just one activity, copy data. So why do you have to create a pipeline which has one activity? It'll just give you the item for copy data job.
Exactly. So with this activity, I have two important features to kind of announce. So the first thing is super simple. I have data in one workspace, and I want to move it to another workspace directly into Fabric. So with this copy job, it makes it super easy. So let's take a look. So directly from my Data Factory homepage, I'll kick off a new data copy process or copy job process to kick off the data copy process. So I'll give it a name, and immediately you'll notice this beautiful UI. This is the new modern Get Data experience. And if you haven't seen it before, we have modernized our Get Data experience, so everything is really, really easy to navigate. So in this case, I'm copying data from one lakehouse, and I want to move it into a different lakehouse in a separate workspace.
And that's something we heard a lot from you.
Exactly. It's a very common community ask. And it's just that easy to seamlessly copy data from across workspaces.
Yeah, that's super cool. Now, if I want to copy data across tables, but I want to do it in an incremental manner.
Yep, that's exactly right. So this copy job has an even more powerful feature to do incremental data loading, so it allows any near-time, real-time updates to any of your data that has changed. So in this case, we have included a new copy job, and I have some sales data on an on-premises SQL server, and I want to avoid full data loads. So I'll connect to my my on-prem SQL database, select the database, select the tables, and then as a data destination, I'm going to land it into another Azure SQL database. So table to table, database to database. And in the data movement tab, you'll notice that I'm going to select incremental copy over full batch copy by selecting the watermark columns for each of my tables. And once I kick off the data copy process, the copy job from my SQL server, my on-prem SQL server to my Azure SQL database begins with an initial snapshot of my data available in seconds.
And now if I make individual changes to individual rows, I don't have to copy the entire table.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. So the thing is that if I go back to my SQL server, I'm going to add a couple of rows to my customers table, and now you'll notice that only those two rows will actually be incrementally copied over. And if I actually go back to my copy job, you can see that those two rows have indeed been only copied over. And actually in this UI, you can also look at some advanced configurations like read-write behaviors, throughput, latency, all seamlessly integrated into this beautiful UI.
So incremental updates of the tables. What about incremental updates of files?
Yeah, that's really important to say as well. Like incrementally copying tables is impressive, but we can do the same thing with file systems as well from any source, any destination. So you just saw that I have some product, images in my product catalog, and I've created a copy job to copy that Amazon S3 like images into my lakehouse. And if I go back to my lakehouse, you'll notice all those images are neatly organized into folders. And of course, our catalog continues to get new images all the time. So I have a new folder called number 20, and I have 13 images that I want to incrementally copy over in just that table. So I'll drag and drop that folder directly into my Amazon S3 bucket. And after a few seconds, that is uploaded. And if I go back to my copy job, I'll verify that just that number 20 with those 13 images have indeed been incrementally copied over. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, so incremental
Yes.
copy of tables, incremental copy of files. Now, a lot of people here are using the Azure Data Factory. Which one of you are using Azure Data Factory? Okay,
Woohoo!
yeah. So we have some news for those people as well.
Exactly. So I have one more really cool announcement to make before I leave, and that is for existing Azure Data Factory customers to also experience the complete modern open experience of Microsoft Fabric. So I'm thrilled to announce Azure Data Factory item in Fabric that allows ADF customers to seamlessly integrate their Azure Data Factories directly into Fabric. So once you have your ADF linked, you'll notice that you see all of your existing ADF pipelines, data flows, and data sets, all executable and manageable directly into Fabric.
So one place to go to, just Fabric. You don't have to alt-tab between Azure and Fabric.
Nope,
Yeah.
exactly. So all of your existing ADF items continue to run on Azure, but you can also experience all the great things that Fabric has to offer. It's just so easy to like bring your existing workloads into Fabric now. Yeah.
And
thank you.
so more and more innovations. There's more stuff that is coming, right?
Exactly. We have, once again, barely scratched the surface. And if you really want to learn more about some of our new innovations, please make sure to come to some of our Data Factory sessions.
Thank you so much, Yuri.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you, everyone.
So one of the things that you guys love the most about OneLake is the ability to unify your entire data estate into OneLake. And this is with the power of shortcuts and the power of mirroring. And shortcuts is just awesome because you create shortcuts kind of links that point to data that exists somewhere else that is not natively stored in OneLake. It could be into other cloud providers such as AWS or GCP. It could be to on-premises data into all sorts of storage systems. So you just create the shortcut and the data is instantly part of OneLake. And then we have also mirroring. And mirroring allows us to get to databases. So I can point to a database, and I want to create a reflection of the database in OneLake. Well, you can just point to the database, apply the mirror, and the mirror will create a replica of the data in OneLake, and that replica is free. It doesn't cost you to pay twice for the second copy of the storage. It doesn't cost you to the compute to maintain the replica. We maintain the replica at real time using the CDC feed from the database. So this free offer is just unbelievable. But sometimes we get lucky because we don't even have to do the replication. And I'm going to invite Carleen on stage to talk about the other way to do mirroring. Hey, Carleen.
Hey, Amir.
So we don't always have to do replication when we want to do mirroring, right?
That's right. Actually, I'm super excited to share a couple of things with you today and with all of you. And imagine if we were able to combine the ease of use of shortcuts with the power and scalability of mirroring without data movement and using a single copy.
And we do that when the data is stored at the source in an open format, right?
That's right. For most of you in the room, no surprise, we have chosen to standardize on the open format of Delta, which is one that our partners near and dear to our heart, Databricks, also standardizes on. So I'm really excited to show you a couple of things.
Yeah. Now, until now, if you want to work with Databricks tables, you have to create shortcuts for table by table by table. Now, with mirroring, we can do better, right?
Exactly. Let me show you how we can combine both of those. And so let's take a look. So in here, let's imagine that I'm building an analytics solution for my customer Contoso Outdoors. And like many customers out there, they leverage Azure Databricks as part of their data estate. So here you see my neat task flow view. I have my items and my resources. And let me show you how easy it is to connect to my Databricks catalog. So I'll go in here, which is this new item that we call the Mirrored Azure Databricks item. And immediately it's going to show me which catalogs are available to me. So I'll select Contoso Outdoors. In the default schema, I see the tables available to me, so I'll select those and hit Create. and obviously give it a quick name. And just like that, I now see my Databricks entire catalog just right here in the preview pane of Fabric, which is pretty incredible.
And that's all you have to do. Now, if you add more tables to Databricks, what will happen then?
Of course, we want to make sure we're working off of the same copy, right? So here I'm back in my Databricks environment, and I'm going to create an additional order details table. And so once that is in there, I'm going to switch back to my Fabric environment, hit refresh, and boom, just like that, order details shows up here. So one copy, zero data movement. And right now, I mean, this is just another table in Fabric, right? I can switch to my SQL endpoint. I can query the data. I can explore the data. It was just that easy.
It's so easy. And so it doesn't really matter. There's no data movement going on here because under the cover, the mirroring technologies, the shortcuts technology is working. So we don't move the data from Databricks to OneLake. We just maintain the shortcuts automatically. So as you add tables, delete tables, rename tables, change the tables, this is instantly reflected in OneLake with no effort from your side.
That's right.
And so sometimes the data is not available in Delta format, but still in open format, right?
Exactly. So if we, obviously I mentioned about Delta, which we all are familiar with. A couple of months ago at Build, for those of you that joined us there, we announced that we were going to support Iceberg in addition to Delta. And so really excited because that opens up a ton of opportunities for us and another partner that we closely work with, Snowflake.
Yeah, so it's actually amazing the collaboration we have between us and Snowflake. They've been a great partner. We collaborated that we can read their Iceberg tables. They are actually going to endorse OneLake even more. We're going to see it in a moment in the demo.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter if you want to use Iceberg, you want to use Delta, you're going to find that OneLake accepts both and they operate both. Let's actually take a look how we work with Iceberg.
Yes, let's take a look. So if we switch to the Fabric environment, let's start from this empty Contoso Lakehouse. And let me show you how easy it is to connect to my Snowflake data that's currently hosted in my Amazon S3 account. So just for the record, I'm going to show you my S3 Iceberg tables. They're right here. And what you'll see in terms of the structure of these tables is that they'll have a metadata folder and a data folder. But you don't see a Delta log file, right?
No, because it's Iceberg.
Exactly. So back in my Fabric environment, I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a shortcut to my S3 bucket. I'll identify my connection. And right here in my Explorer, I see the Iceberg tables that are available to me and that I want to bring into my Fabric environment. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to focus on products. And so what you'll see in here is that same structure. Again, it's an Iceberg table. The data folder contains some Parquet data. And when I switch to the metadata folder, you'll see some metadata that is just metadata for the Iceberg table. So what I'll do is I'll select this table. I'll hit next, and I'm going to virtualize this to Delta. So I'll give this a name, S3 Iceberg, so we can recognize it later, and I'll hit create. And so Amir, what's happening in the background is that all the required steps to turn this into the look and feel of a Delta table is happening automatically. So when we go back to our Fabric environment and hit refresh, we see the S3 Iceberg table right here in the Fabric window. And so right now, it's pretty much open to all the other engines on top.
So from Fabric perspective, it looks like a Delta table. And this is done because we virtualize the Delta log, right?
Exactly. So when we go take a look, in addition to the data and the metadata folder, we now have a virtual Delta log. And within that folder, you'll see the metadata that is actually required to make this look and feel like a Delta table.
And this is happening automatically?
Happens automatically, yeah.
So what do you do now?
So I have another exciting thing that I wanted to share with you, which is taking that integration a step further. So let's assume that I have a Snowflake data on an Azure storage account. What if I wanted to write natively into my OneLake? That's something that we are very proud to share with this audience as well. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to check on where exactly in the lakehouse I want to be writing to natively. Going to go back to my Snowflake environment, switch that URL. And what you're going to see now is that it's automatically expanding that OneLake volume. And so I'm going to add a table and a few rows. And so all of that is happening automatically. And right now, I'm writing into OneLake.
So OneLake becomes the native storage for Snowflake.
That's right. So I'll go back to refreshing. And you'll see that the Iceberg table that I just added is now showing up in the pane as well. From here on out, I mean, possibilities are endless, right? Because now it is just integrated into my Fabric experience. All of the Fabric engines can now just be unleashed, and like I'm using a Spark notebook on that data. I can bring in the Databricks data right here. So you're really unifying that data estate, and in a matter of minutes, I have my Power BI dashboard right here.
That's awesome, right? So we've been working with Databricks, we've been working with Snowflake, and we've been working with another big name.
That's right, never two without three. And so a couple of weeks ago, we were very excited. We joined Oracle at their Oracle Cloud World Summit in Vegas. And we're really pleased to announce the public preview of the mirroring capabilities for their OCI Golden Gate.
Yeah. So, a lot of good innovations. You can actually follow the more innovation in this session. Thank you so much, Carlene.
It was a pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. So we are bringing all the data into OneLake, and now you say, how do I make sure it's all governed? I make sure that it's all secured. That is something that is top of mind for us, and we've been investing so much in this. So you see all the features we already shipped in network security, data security, in governance, lots and lots of features shipped. You can also see, and I recommend you take a snapshot of this slide, you can see all the features that are in the pipeline because there's so much more coming. And you also want to make sure that it's all certified. The whole platform is certified. So we've been working on the certifications for Fabric diligently, and almost all the core certifications have been completed. You can see it here. One is missing. We're waiting for the last certification for the FedRAMP, which is the Federal Government of the United States certification. This is going to come this winter. I think for you as Europeans, maybe you care a bit less about that one, but you can see all the other ones are already in the box. So really want to make sure that you have confidence that all the data you put in Fabric is secured, is governable, and we're adding more governance features. So today, in the FabCon, we're announcing the public preview for item tagging. This allows you to create a centralized set of tags that you can now categorize your artifacts, your items in the workspace, and you can search by these. So a great way to really manage the collection of the inventory of items that you have across the product. We're adding more capabilities around domains and subdomains, giving more power to the domain administrator, so you can now define default sensitivity labels at the domain level. You can set the policy for sharing and export at the domain level. So that's something that really gives even more power for you guys who have to work with the business unit and set the policies that are different for finance versus marketing. And then we have one of my favorites is the work that we're doing around data loss prevention. This is where we scan the data in OneLake. We figure out if you have sensitive data in there. So we had it in Power BI. Now we are moving to work on OneLake Lakehouses first. So you can set a policy, and then based on the policy, we know, if we discover some perhaps sensitive data, PII data, we can mark it, but then you can apply also the policies to work on it. So a lot of work that is going on there. And that kind of concludes the second pillar, AI-powered data estate, and we can move to the third pillar. And this is the AI-powered insights. And this is really about the business users here. This is where Power BI comes into the picture. And Power BI has a special warm place in my heart. You know, we love all our children equally, but Power BI is more equal in my heart. I want to invite Kim on stage.
Hey, hey Stockholm. Hey,
Kim,
how you doing? Excited to be here.
Power BI is very special.
You know, Power BI lives in this in-between world, right? We do all this work to get the data together, bring it into OneLake, structure it, get it into a form. But Power BI is really the bridge to the business user, right?
Yes.
You do all this work. If people aren't using it to make decisions, what's the point, right?
What's the point? Yeah. So really part of the productivity apps and part of the data stack.
Exactly.
And this is how we really generate the value. What's the point of collecting everything?
Yeah, and we've been talking a lot about AI today. Power BI is no different. We got a lot.
A lot of AI, Copilot stuff, right?
Yeah. So I want to kick it off by talking about report authoring. So why don't we just get into it?
Yep.
Let's take a look. So we're going to jump into the Power BI report canvas that we all know and love, and we're just going to start by asking Copilot a question. We want to build a report page. Let's ask about our loyalty member demographics by different types of spend, and immediately Copilot will analyze the scheme of our data set and build this gorgeous report. But the great thing about Copilot is not just being able to ask it questions, it's being able to refine and iterate and get it to just what you want. And
So if I want to replace those maps.
Exactly. Starting today, Power BI will allow you to iterate on the report. So I can go ahead and ask Copilot to change those maps out. Instead of looking at location, let's look at income. And immediately, it'll detect those maps on the page and switch out the visual. This is awesome, right?
So you can make a lot of changes this way.
Like, these visuals on the left, they're not telling us anything super interesting. So let's look at member source instead, because that's something that we want to start tracking. And so we can go ahead and change that. And we can change the visual type. So instead of a column, let's change it to a bar chart. And I can just keep iterating like it. And I can start exploring the data in new ways. So like here, all the visuals are looking at sums. Maybe I want to look at average. So I can just ask Copilot, and Copilot will immediately go and change all the visuals on the report.
Yeah, think about how many clicks you're saving here.
So many insights, right? So the incentive program here popped to the top when I change it to average. So I want to keep exploring, right? And so now I can keep exploring using Copilot. So I can ask for a scatter plot and look at that average, average spend versus total. And immediately I get the scatter plot, and I can start to see that incentive program really pops as really high average spend, but not that many customers. So we know we should add more customers to it. So it just creates this new exploration experience. Not only did, in a couple minutes, I built a gorgeous report, I iterated on it, I found some insights, and you can just keep playing with it. So just a new way to create Power BI reports.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Now, everything in the report is based on top of the semantic model. And semantic model is really magical. It's so powerful. This is the place where we maintain all the business logic, all the corporate metrics, we call those the measures, and they are created by experts, vetted by experts, and now you can make sure that whenever people look at the report, when they look at the numbers, they are correct numbers.
Exactly. The semantic model is really what powers Power BI, right? It's what powers the reports. So authoring that is critical, and spending the time getting those measures just right, that business logic just right, super important.
And we typically use the Power BI desktop to author those.
I know, I'm a little biased, maybe you are too, but Power BI desktop is my favorite tool of choice. So why don't we kick it off by checking out Power BI desktop? And before you roll the demo, anything look different here, guys? Anything different?
Yeah.
Dark mode. Dark mode is rolling out today in Power BI desktop.
This is something that has been around, but the ask has been so long.
Over 9,000 votes in the ideas forum. I know a lot of you want to work late at night on your Power BI reports, and it's difficult. You need sunglasses. So now, starting today, you have dark mode in Power BI desktop.
Okay, we can use
let's get back to the business.
Modeling with Copilot.
So let's roll the demo.
Lake?
So let's roll the demo. So we're going to start in the OneLake Data Hub. And this is really my authoritative sources of data. And in desktop, I can go look at all my semantic models that I have stored in OneLake. And I'm going to pick my direct lake model that we were using earlier, this loyalty warehouse data set. But I want to edit this data set. And in desktop this week, you can now edit direct lake models in Power BI desktop.
So direct lake model in the desktop.
And the cool thing here, guys, is you're actually editing the model in the cloud. So every change you make is actually just being reflected back to the model in the web. So you don't have to download huge data sets and keep all the data locally. But, okay, so let's get to modeling, right? And of course, we're going to use Copilot. So let's ask Copilot some basic questions to kick it off. So we'll query average spend by country. And again, Copilot writes me a beautiful DAX measure. I can run it. I could get the numbers. But we want to do something more complicated for this direct lake model. So, let's look at a running total of our customers, of our loyalty customers. And we can go ahead and just ask Copilot. And we can run this query. We get the DAX that we know and love without having to manually write it. And then the great thing is when I save this back to my model, it's going to that model up in the cloud. So I can do all my DAX authoring in Power BI Desktop, the tool I know and love. But we're going to test Copilot here, OK? So I want to do something a little more complicated. I want to look at all the changes in our loyalty members. I want to look at year over year. I want to look at month over month. I want to look at it by percent value, by absolute value. So let's see if Copilot can handle this. Copilot gave me 4 measures at once.
4 measures in 1 request.
1 request. And all I need to do is just save that. It goes to my direct lake model. So not only do I have Copilot to help me with modeling, I now have direct lake authoring in Power BI Desktop right here in dark mode.
So we created the report with the Copilot. We created the semantic model with the Copilot. It's all for our business users.
Yep.
And so What do we offer the business
So
user?
it's not just for creators. We showed you report authoring, semantic modeling, but what about the end users? The end users consuming Power BI content, right? We want to help them with Copilot as well. So we're going to show you a sneak peek of something. So,
so it's something that is kind of different.
It's something new. So let's roll it. So you'll notice a new option in the upper left-hand corner, this Copilot button. And so this is going to start showing up for end users, and you can go ahead and click it. And when I go in, I get this fully immersive, full-screen Copilot experience. And I can start with some suggestions, or I can just start asking questions. And I don't have to go hunt around for the data set or find the report. I can just ask, how many loyalty program members did we add last month? And I get the answer. And not only does Copilot give me the answer, it tells me why it gave me the answer. So it gives me an explanation of its reasoning, and it shows the citation for the data source that it's coming from.
And it figured out what semantic model to use.
It picked the semantic model for me. And so now that I'm in the context of the semantic model, I can just keep going. I can keep playing with the data. I can keep asking questions. So break it down by source. And I get these visual answers without having to go hunt around for the source, ask somebody to build me a report. I can just do it myself. And so I can ask who are the top members with anniversaries this month and really drill into the data.
Now, what if you want to ask a question that has nothing to do with the semantic model?
You just keep asking, and Copilot will detect. So here I'm going to ask, which managers have the most open positions? And Copilot detected, hey, that other semantic model wasn't the right one, and it found another one I had access to and gives me the answer. And not only that, I can also use it to search for reports themselves. So we've been talking about these loyalty members. List the reports related to that, and it gives me a bunch of options with a Copilot description telling me about them, so I can pick the one that's right for me. And then when I drill into that, the Copilot experience will carry over with me. So I can keep exploring the data now in the context of the report I'm looking at. So, maybe I want to get a summary, some bullets to send off to Arun, give him a summary for later, and I can go ahead and get that summary, copy and paste it, send it in my email, and I'm off to the races. So just brand new ways for end users to work with data and really help themselves and explore those semantic models, explore the data using Copilot.
So we've seen the Copilot.
Yeah.
We've seen the Copilot in action in the browser when you consume the reports, but there's another experience we have.
We're all on the go here. We're standing on stage. We don't have our laptops in front of us. We're in this conference, right? So starting this month, Copilot in Power BI mobile apps is coming. So you can explore that data in the exact same way on the go. You can play with the data, ask questions, get answers in your mobile apps, rolling out this month.
And there's so many more innovations that are coming.
So much coming. Come to our Power BI sessions. Looking forward to seeing you this week.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
And so this is really the end of the journey today. We talked about the 3 pillars, the AI-powered development. Everything you develop is with Copilot. We've seen the AI-powered data estate that connects all your data from wherever it is. And we've seen the AI-powered insight with the power of Power BI, the Copilot. And with this, I want to invite Arun back to the stage to close and take us home.
Thank you so much, Amir. Thank you so much. Wow. So much exciting innovation. What do you guys think? Yeah? As we wrap up, I want to make sure you appreciate that as we're doing all of these things, we're putting you, the customer, front and center. Okay? When we thought about Fabric, you notice that we're the only hyperscaler on the planet that has embraced open source data formats across the full Fabric stack. It's not just a Spark engine, a data warehousing engine, the Power BI engine, the real-time database has open source data formats as the default because we know they matter for you. When we introduced OneLake, we not only thought about data in Azure or on premises, but we introduced shortcuts to all of the data sitting in AWS and GCP because we recognize that your data lives everywhere. When we brought out the real-time hub, again, we not only supported Azure IoT sources, but we supported AWS Kinesis, Google PubSub, and Kafka so that you can work with data everywhere. And we're the only product in market where we've completely unified the business model so you can dramatically save costs by consolidating these dozens or hundreds of different tools just into Fabric. We're seeing customers save 30%, 50%, 70% on their data and AI costs by driving this consolidation down. So this week is an awesome week for you to get deep into all of those capabilities. 114 sessions, 300 plus engineers, developers, and designers here from my team to be able to go very, very deep. We also have a couple of exciting keynotes. Tomorrow, you'll hear from OneGUI and Marco, where they go deep into our AI stack, all of our AI innovation, and then they show you how all of that connects to Fabric. And day 3, on Friday, you'll have 2 keynotes. One Go is going to talk to you about a customer case study, and Rudy Mitra from the Purview team is going to come by and talk to you about all the Purview innovation and how that connects into Fabric. So we're very, very grateful. All of this is only possible because you leaned in, you've bet on our product, you've bet on Microsoft. Huge thank you to all of you, right? Now, well, FabCon is fun, FabCon is interesting, so we're doing it again and again, right? So the next Fabric conference in the US is slated for March. Registration is now open, so if you guys want to join us next March, you're welcome to. If you want to get your US colleagues over there, I highly encourage you to do it. Same thing for Europe. So next year, we're going to do FabCon Europe again in beautiful Vienna, so mark your calendars. Hope to see you, everybody there. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful FabCon. Bye-bye.